aggressive towards the ethos of sharing data. Now, whilst you can argue, obviously, the subjects that Torrent Free covers a lot of the time transpire to be copyright infringement subjects, but in the broader scheme, for example, like Linux Tracker and Vodo, a lot of services that do use it, that's why I keep my eye on the news published there. Roy, do you have any?
Yeah, I found a very interesting piece of news today. I'm trying to find which site it was from. I'll give you the name of the site as well. I think it's important if it's torrent free. Yeah, it's for torrent free actually. It's about the university in Georgia. It's not the University of Georgia. It's just a smaller one in the state. And the headline basically tells you that the university begins reporting all peer-to-peer users to the police. Now, basically, they try to find out any person who uses peer-to-peer, and in a very, they basically generalize and basically say all peer-to-peer users are doing something wrong, and they report all to the police. And then we had this discussion, I think earlier in the week about, we talked about how there is at least the perception, there is the criminalization, at least the perceptual one of people using peer-to-peer, they must be doing something wrong. And this is a case where they aren't just assumed to be doing something wrong, they're actually being reported to the police if they use peer-to-peer. And Glenn Moody, who's one journalist I quite like to follow, his comments on that is like, lots of peer-to-peer is legitimate, and they're being reported to the police, people who even share, free software and can do a distro. It can be all kinds of things. I used torrent before to get lots of my music now, over 1,000 songs, and that's completely legal. And as I said before, I felt dirty getting this thing legally because I know that the person who might be monitoring the network will assume that I'm doing something wrong when obviously I don't. And you cannot police these things.
Yeah. I mean, it's very similar how I feel. I resent being tarnished with any brush, and certainly for our peer-to-peer uses, it's wholly lawful and legal. And I think that a lot of the copyright infringement protection agencies, for want of a better word, sort of come down on peer-to-peer as if everybody is a criminal unless shown otherwise. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, well, I actually found another item from Glenn Moody. He shared a very interesting statistic now about YouTube. As you probably know, the increase in terms of the volume of people interested in the site. And now they claim over 35 hours of video uploaded, not viewed, uploaded every 1 minute. So 35 hours of video, that's a day and a half every 1 minute, that's uploaded. Now, Glenn's remark was, how are you supposed to check this for copyright violation? Now, it's not just watching 35 hours every 1 minute, so which would require you to basically put 35 hours times 60 minutes number of employees. So you're talking about, just doing quick maths, I think 2,000 employees watching it in real time as it's being uploaded. And all these people who sit there and actually watch the thing have to know if it's a copyright violation, if it's fair use, if it's, whatever. They use flagging systems to check all that stuff. Now, the reason I bring this up is because YouTube is being painted as a piracy place, as some of the more popular things might be copyright violation, might be parts of movies, but the majority is people just uploading their pictures of the daughter, pictures of, themselves doing some recording or going around the house and doing things. And it's really impossible to expect YouTube to monitor 35 hours of video every minute being uploaded, not viewed, just uploaded, and maybe to even check comments, like, some comments might be very unacceptable. There is no way, because there's so much of that, and the better way to cope with this wealth of information, people uploading their videos of their baby dancing to some music or something, the only way to do that is to try to reform the copyright law. And that's what happens now in Europe with Neely talking about having to modernize the law to accept practices of today and adjust the law to the practices of people instead of vice versa.
But I mean, like I say, it does concern me that an excellent an excellent technology like peer-to-peer is being branded with one brush, and obviously in the Linux world, it's far from the truth. But yeah, so it's a torrent free, good site, keeps you up to date with all the happenings in the world of peer-to-peer. So I thoroughly recommend anybody who hasn't, and I doubt there's many people who haven't been to that site before, but I thoroughly recommend people go and visit and keep up to date with all the latest news there. Another quick headline off my list. We've got some educational software, which unfortunately I haven't had the chance to look at properly yet, and it's Tux Math. Tux the Penguin is helping younger people trying to learn mathematics. A very good software package. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too mature for my lad, because he's not quite there yet. He's about 3 or 4 years behind the age that this piece of software is for, but it's a really good piece of software, and just really a testament to the hard work that people put into helping other people. So that's on the Free Software magazine, and that'll be linked in the show notes. It's quite a long URL, so I won't bother repeating it now. So that was that.
I've seen that as well. I think the article itself is about 2-3 days old now, and I did watch it before. The first thing I thought about is your reviewing of all kinds of applications for Linux, which children might actually use to get themselves educated as well as entertained. You talked about Game Maker, and but I think lots of people don't know about maybe 1,000 or so games which are available, mostly kind of educational or puzzles and things like that, which are available for free. I'm not sure how you find them available. If you're a Mac OS X user or a Windows user, do you happen to know what? So I'm trying to kind of market the platform for parents, perhaps, who want to put their kids in front of a computer with lots of games and they can choose them. I'm trying to envision that. So.
I mean, the nice thing is, with titles such as Tux Maths, it's not only an educational title, which is a bit of fun, but it's also introducing children to the world of Linux as well. And that's something that's important. I mean, we see very often that children go through the education system brought up on Microsoft software, and they don't learn about the outside world. And just like every other subject that you learn at school, there's more than one side to the coin, and there's so many different options and things available to people in the real world. So it's quite nice to see that Linux is a viable education tool. It's a very good platform. And the whole ethos of free and open source software as well, with titles such as TuxMath, just shows that there's a lot of people out there that are dedicating their time to educating and helping parents and helping kids get on with school subjects. So it's a very good project. I will give it some time. I think it's very difficult always reviewing a child's package, because obviously I'm not at the same level as the package is aimed at, so it's not going to be something I can relate with immediately. So it's difficult for me, and obviously I'm not an education expert, so I can't say, this is excellent for such and such an age group or such and such a person. But I'll give it a look, and I'm sure it'll be very, very good.
I can't help thinking of all kinds of distributions I was tracking a few years ago, which were targeted specifically at children, and I think. The only one that I heard of recently is based on Ubuntu, and it's the one with the Eskimo. What's it called?
Is it Edubuntu? Is it?
No, it's a different one. One for younger children. But it used to have all kinds of distros before all this kind of spinning culture. The spinning culture is kind of more, I think, the past 3-4 years. You had all these kind of OpenSUSE education and Ubuntu, and that's because you had the right facilities to create live CDs and to create spins very easily with the GUI. Going back 5 years ago, if you wanted to create your own distro, you really had to know something about writing a script to work with a certain script that generates a distro, and still possibly would not have a live CD. Well, maybe not 5 years ago, but many years ago, you really had to know Linux to create a distro. And then you had things which were not bound to the so-called masters of the upstream of things. It would not be like the Ubuntu educational distro and the OpenSUSE-based educational distro. It would be just things which are specifically meant to be for children. And you can probably find them as inactive projects now in DistroWatch if you go there. And you have all kinds of these